Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing? What's up, Wing Chun? First, as always. What's up, Peepzilla? How's it going? Oh, it's your birthday. Hey, Peepzilla, happy birthday. Happy 21st birthday. You can drink now. Aren't you happy? What's up, Bigfoot? Glad you're here. Hey, Nikki. Glad you could join. What's up, Christina? You guys are so nice in the chat. What's going on? Everyone is wishing Peepzilla a happy birthday. What's up, Losh? Glad you could join. What's up, Sunny Side Up? Hey, Dan. I'm glad you're here. Is it just you, or do I look extra good today? Well, yeah, I do look extra good, okay? I look extra good every day. Don't forget that. Guys, another week of no snacks. I'm so sad. I still haven't had time to buy snacks. God, I'm so busy this week. But what I do have is this. Oh, I got a sponsor, okay, for the main channel, a sake sponsor. So they sent me 3 sake bottles. Yeah. And they also sent me this. It's a little masu. And you drink it in this, okay, apparently. So why don't we just open it up? Da-da-da. Alright. Did you guys know that sake is closer to beer than it is to wine? Yeah, because it's made from rice. So rice is okay. So wine is made from grapes, right? Yeah. And what happens is that the yeast turns the sugar into alcohol. But from rice, you can't turn rice into alcohol, okay? The yeast can't do that. You got to turn the rice, the starch from the rice into sugar first, and then the sugar turns into alcohol from the yeast, which is the same process as beer. So sake is more close to beer than it is to wine. That's why I believe wine tastes better as it ages, but sake does not. Okay. You're supposed to drink sake pretty soon after you open it. All right. Shall I try it? Let's see how it tastes. Not bad. Not bad. A little sweet. I told them to give me something a little like fruity. Yeah, it's a little bit sweet. I don't know what taste it is. I'm not sure. Gotta finish the bottle by the end of the chapter. I don't know. It's a pretty big bottle. It's 15 to 16% alcohol, okay? Rated out of 10? I don't know. Hold on. I'm not a wine drinker, okay? Let's say 7. Can't let it go bad. I don't think you gotta drink it by the end of the day. I'll leave it in the fridge. You never drank from the square wooden thing before? Yeah, it's supposed to transfer the wood taste, if you like that stuff. It's actually pretty good. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. That wood taste is not bad. Dum 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 dum. Wine in a box. Hey, okay. To be fair, it did come in a box. Okay, in a shipping box. Half now, half next chapter. Okay. All right. I need to leave after this. Okay, so we might have to make this short. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Let's do it. Dun, dun, dun. Japanese. Quiz. Now we can do some real karaoke. Oh, whoops. Live screen. All right. Do I remember? Okay. Japanese prefecture. Let me drink some sake to remind me. Gifu. All right. Is it working? Oh, it works. Oh my god. Yamaguchi must be here. Oh my god. Mie, I think it's here. Oh my god. The sake actually works, guys. Tokushima. Ah, crap. Here. Oh no. Oh no. It's all over. It's all over. Tokushima. Toyama. Miyazaki is here. Akita. Where's Akita? Is here, right? Okay. Saitama. Here? 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 Ooh, close. Aichi is here. Oh, damn. Iwate is here. Okinawa is here. Shiga is here, I believe. Aomori should be the tip. Kumamoto. Here? Ishikawa. Okay, okay. Shimane is here. Shizuoka. I believe is... Oof. Either this or this. I think it's this. Nagasaki is here. Yamagata. Ooh. Where are you? Nothing comes to mind. Here? Here? Oh. Tochigi. Tochigi. Here. 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 Okay. Hokkaido. Nagano. This must be... This is Niigata, right? This is Nagano? Okay. Osaka. Fukuoka is here. Kyoto is here. Saga here. Kagawa. Oh, shoot. Niigata is here. Hyogo is here, I think. Oh, damn. Kagoshima. Here? Okay, okay. Nara is here. Ehime. Here. Kochi is here. Tori. Oh, the key is not to think too much about it. Okay. Okayama. Wakayama. Here? Ibaraki. Ibaraki? Oh, I just had that. Yamanashi. Miyagi is here. Fukui here. Oita is here. Chiba. Fukushima. Gunma. Hiroshima. Kanagawa. Oh, 69. Hell yeah. Can we do it? Can we do it today? I don't think it's today. I don't think today is the day, guys. Maybe next week. Shimane. Alright, second try. Toyama. Ah! Okayama. 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 Where? Oh. Yamaguchi. Here. Fukushima is here. Kagoshima. Here. Ah! Ah! Kagoshima. You're not an island? Oh, you are. Kinda. Hokkaido. Hyogo is here. Yamanashi. Ah, the 4-syllable words. Those are what are getting me. Ow. There are too many 4-syllable words. Okay. Tokushima is here. Totori, Osaka. Yeah. 3-syllable words I can do. Miyagi's. Here. Fuck. Fuck. Kyoto. Here, see? 3 syllables. Mie. Nagano. Here. Saitama. Oh, shoot. Here. Here. Oh. Well, that's too hard. Okinawa. Saga. Kanagawa. Oh, where was that? Shizuoka is here. Oita is here. Hiroshima. Ibaraki. Wakayama. Waka. Kagawa. Aichi. Tochigi. Here. Ooh, Chiba. Aomori is a tip. Fukuoka is here. Niigata. Yamagata. Damn it. 4 syllables. Yamagata. This is Kumamoto, right? Yamagata. She's here. Gifu, this thing. Shiga here. Kumamoto is here. Miyazaki is here. Gunma is here. Iwate. No! Oh! There. Nagasaki is here. Tokyo. Nara. Akita. This is Akita? Wait, really? Oh, no, here. Ishikawa. Oh! 71. Alright. Alright. Let's see how well we do here. Aichi. Where's Aichi? Why? I keep forgetting that. Where are you? Aichi. Where are you? Where can you be? Oh. Oh yeah, there, okay. Kyoto is here. Kochi is here. Fukui is here. Yes. Alright, hey, we're doing pretty good, okay? We're getting like 71% now. Saitama. Oof. One of these, aren't you? Okay, okay. Here? Damn it. Where's Toyama? Okay. Tokyo. Raki's here. Kumamoto is here. Yes. Yamagata. Here you are not. Yamagata. Here? Here? Oh, what? How are you there? Nagano is here. Ehime, Chiba, Gunma, Tochigi. Here, Oita, Shizuoka, Yamaguchi, Shimane, Wakayama. Damn it. Damn it. Fuck. Mie, Kago. Here? Okayama, Saga, Hokkaido, Akita. Oof. Here. Here, she is. Here, Kanagawa. Here. Kagoshima. Here, right? No, here. No, this is Tokushima. This is Kagoshima. Okay! Osaka. Tokushima here. Boop. 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 Totori. Oh my god. On a roll! Oh my god. Oh my god! Oh! Damn. Okay. It might be next week, guys. It might be next week. If not next week, then the week afterwards. Cheers. All right. All right. What happened last week in our story? Okay. So last week, if you remember, our hero monk Suju, he returns to the Shaolin Temple, right? And while he's there, some famous monks visit the temple, and they accuse Shaolin of not punishing Qiao Feng. But then the Shaolin abbot and the other senior monks of Shaolin, they say that they investigated it and they found Qiao Feng innocent, which is good. Now, Jiumozu, he crashes the meeting. Okay, he comes out of nowhere. Remember, this is the monk from Tibet. Now, he crashes the meeting and he claims to know the 72 supreme skills of Shaolin. Okay, and this is an unbelievable claim because like mastering one or two of these skills would take a normal person like a lifetime to do. Okay, but he claims to know all 72 skills of Shaolin, and he demonstrates some moves, and they do look like some of the Shaolin skills, and the Shaolin abbot is amazed. And then Jiumozu, he insults Shaolin, and he tells them to just disband the sect, okay, because they kind of suck. And then one senior monk from Shaolin challenges him using his special skill, and Jiumozu uses the same skill to poke 3 holes in this monk's belly. Suju is in the crowd, and he sees everything, and he realizes that Jiumozu is actually lying. Okay, he's a dirty little liar. He's not using any Shaolin skills at all. They're actually just his skills in disguise. Jiumozu actually just wanted to shame the temple into disbanding. So Suju, he jumps in and he saves his injured senior monk. Now, Jiumozu attacks Suju, but his skills are lacking. Suju just has like way too much chi energy now. The abbot tells Suju to use some of the basic Shaolin techniques to fight against Jiumozu, knowing that even like basic techniques are strong with Suju's energy. And that's where we left off. How's that? Boom, 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 boom. We were at chapter 40. Whoa! Can you believe it? Chapter 40 already. 50 is the last chapter. We're almost there. All right. Chapter 40. Take a step back and ponder. When would the delusion end? Jiumozi knew that fighting against this little monk would just be a one-sided battle. It would be laughable if he did not win. However, since the circumstances were such that he could not avoid the fight, at once he waved his palms and launched his attack. His palm wind contained light fluttering sounds. His posture and technique were precisely the first-class martial arts of the Prajna palm. Skanda palm is the basic foundation martial arts of Shaolin. When a Shaolin disciple formally became an apprentice to a master, they would first learn the Luohan fists, followed by Skanda palm. Nevertheless, Prajna palm was one of the most obscure martial arts. Practitioners had to abide the sequence strictly and progress from the Skanda palm to the Prajna palm. This would normally require 30 to 40 years of effort. The Prajna palm was one of the 72 supreme consummate skills of Shaolin. Practitioners can train this skill perpetually, and their palm strength would be increasingly stronger as they trained, their palm moves becoming more pure. It could be said that there was no end to learning. Eventually, they would reach the last palm move, the bottom of emptiness. Ever since the creation of the Prajna palm, all of the senior monks in Shaolin who trained in this skill, very few managed to master the last move. Throughout Shaolin's history, there had never been a case of using Skanda palm to exchange blows with Prajna palm. Both skills were at the extremes of martial arts. One was deep and mythical, the other shallow and crude. Senior monks who mastered the Prajna palm would never fight with junior monks who only knew Skanda palm. Even for sparring among master and disciple, if the master used the Prajna palm, then the disciple would have to use the Dharma palm, Snow Mountain palm, or 1,000 hands of Rulai to trade moves. Suju saw the incoming palm move. He slanted his body to avoid and push out with both palms. It was a move from Skanda palm, known as the way to protect the monastery gate. The move was mediocre, however, the power behind it was vigorous and forceful. Jiumozi spun his body, his sleeves revolved, and he executed the mendicant palm. Suju slanted his body to avoid. Jiumozi had anticipated Suju's dodging position. He already launched his Vajra fists. With a pung sound, he hit Suju's shoulder. Suju staggered and retreated 2 steps. Jiumozi laughed and said, "Ha ha ha, little monk, are you convinced?" He presumed he had shattered Suju's shoulder bone with that fist. Unexpectedly, Suju was protected by the pure energy of northern darkness. However, he still felt his shoulder ache. He straightened his body, his palm moving from left to right, and executed the move, Ganges River flowing to the sea. Both palms carried torrents of energy. It was akin to widespread flood. Jiumozi saw his fist had no effect on Suju. Moreover, when Suju's palm move arrived, its power was profound and heavy. He could not help but be startled. He raised his palm to block. His body also followed. Both his legs kicked out repeatedly. In a split second, he had kicked 6 times. Every move landed on Suju's solar plexus. It was precisely one of the 72 supreme skills of Shaolin. Shadowing kick. Hey, shadow kick. Isn't that Chun-Li's kick in Street Fighter? Or am I wrong? Does she do the shadow kick? As one leg kicks out, the second leg would arrive with the shadow. The second kick would take shape from the shadow. The third kick would follow the shadow again and arrive as well. Only until the 6th kick did Suju have time to shift his body to avoid. Jiumozi did not allow him to rest. He launched 2 fingers in successions. There were chi-chi sounds. It was the Tara finger. Suju initiated a bow drawing stance and countered with his fists. It was a move from Luohan fists known as Black Tiger Stealing Heart. This fist technique was extremely shallow and superficial. However, when powered by the minor formless skill, unexpectedly it neutralized the Tara fingers' rock-shattering finger force and stopped it midway. You thought that was Johnny Cage? Oh, maybe you're right. Wait. Chun-Li's kick move. Name? 100 rending kick. Never mind. Was it Johnny Cage? Dum 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 dum. Johnny Cage attacks. Johnny Cage. Dum 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 dum. What? Come on. Maybe I just... Oh, it is a shadow kick. Damn, Benjamin. So good. Alright. So, but that shadow kick is seems to be different from this shadow kick. This shadow kick looks more like Chun-Li's kick. Jimotsu had the intention to show off. After launching the Tara finger, he immediately switched moves and made a cutting move with his arm. Although he was empty-handed, the technique was the wood-burning saber skill. To master this set of saber skills, the practitioner had to chop 81 times at a dry piece of wood swiftly. Okay. The saber edge should not damage the wood at all. However, the heat emitted by the saber must ignite the wood and set it on fire. Xiao Feng's teacher, Master Xuan Ku, was an expert in this skill. After Xuan Ku passed away, no one in the temple was capable of such skill. The wood-burning saber skill was meant to be used with a single saber. It was completely different from the void palm force of Jimotsu's blazing saber skill, which he employed in the Tianlong monastery. Currently, Jimotsu was using his palm like the saber edge. He chopped and hacked fiercely. The technique and move was entirely Shaolin's martial art. As his saber chop landed, there was a bo sound. Suju's right arm was hit. Suju shouted out, "Very fast!" He sent out his right fist. As his fist arrived midway, his right arm was hit by another saber move. Jimotsu poured his internal energy into the palm. The palm chop was no different from steel blade. It could slice or break an arm. Unexpectedly, Suju was completely unharmed, even after sustaining 2 saber chops. On the contrary, Jimotsu felt pain from his palm. Jimotsu was startled. Thoughts ran through his mind. Even if this little monk mastered the Golden Bell Shade or the Iron Garment skill, there is no way he can resist my heavy palm move. What is the reason? Ah, yes, he must be wearing some precious protective vest. As he thought about this, he immediately focused his attacks on Shuju's face and head. Unfixed Great, Wisdom Finger, Ridding Worry Finger, Nirvana Claw, Indra Claw. He executed 6 to 7 of Shaolin's divine skills in succession, all of them targeting Shuju's eyes or throat. Wait, so does he know some of Shaolin's moves? It seems like he does. He's not just faking it. Under the high-speed attacks from Jimotsu, Suju was at a loss about how to resist. He could only move back and retreat. He couldn't even use his Skanda palm anymore. He punched repeatedly, all of them the same move, Black Tiger Stealing Heart. Every punch forced Jimotsu to move back half a chi. Thus, due to this half chi, all different kinds of marvelous techniques and moves executed by Jimotsu were rendered useless. as they could not reach Suju's body. In a short period of time, Jiumozi executed another 6 different Shaolin's supreme consummate skills. The crowd of Shaolin monks were dazzled by the display. They thought, he claims to have mastered all 72 supreme consummate skills of Shaolin. He might not necessarily know all 72 skills, but it seems he knows at least 30 to 40 of them. Nevertheless, Suju only countered with the Luhan fists. Under the lightning-fast attacks of Jiumozi, he had no chance to switch moves. Suju executed the move Black Tiger Stealing Heart, and another Black Tiger Stealing Heart, again and again. He only relied on the same move. The fist technique was awkward and clumsy. Even common martial arts practitioners would inevitably laugh out loud. However, the inner strength within the Black Tiger Stealing Heart kept increasing continuously. The distance between both of them gradually grew further. Jiumozi's finger and claw moves were 1 qi away from Suju. Suddenly, Jiumozi lowered his right palm. He flipped his palm and slapped Suju's wrist. Suju's right arm arrived horizontally. Jiumozi's palm interlinked with Suju's wrist. Unexpectedly, Jiumozi felt a severe shock in his arm. Immediately after, his arm ached and felt numb. He quickly channeled the minor formless skill to resist. Unexpectedly, it was neutralized by the opposing minor formless skill, contained within the arm-sealing acupoints technique. Jiumozi's shock was really no small matter. He burst out in cold sweat. He recalled the past events at Suzhou's Mantuo manor. That day, Jiumozi captured Duan Yu and arrived at Jiangnan. He wanted to learn the 6 meridians divine sword of Dali's Duan family, as well as pry into the martial arts collections within the Murong family's water pavilion. Aju and Abi arranged a feast and entertained Jiumozi. Oh, the writer is giving us a summary of what happened, in case we forgot. Aju and Abi arranged a feast and entertained Jiumozi, Duan Yu, Guo Yanzi, and Cui Baichuan. Abi played the zither in the water pavilion, and the floor suddenly flipped over. Duan Yu, Aju, and Abi dropped onto a small boat underneath the water pavilion. 3 of them rowed the boat and escaped quickly. Jiumozi did not know how to row a boat and was unable to catch up. In his rage, he coerced a servant of the Murong family to guide him into the Tanghe manor. However, the servant did not succumb and refused. Jiumozi knew the Tanghe manor was constructed in the deepest part of Lake Tai's cloudy waters. Lotus and water caltrops moved irregularly. It was extremely difficult to locate. He hatched a plan and captured an official. Captured an official in Suzhou's capital town. He pressed a steel saber at the official's neck and forced him to lead the way. With a steel saber at his neck, the official obediently guided Jiumozi. Jiumozi gave him 10 silvers and ordered him to leave. He disembarked and hid within the underbrush. He waited until midnight before entering the manor. Sure enough, the manor's owner was not in. He went to the study room and began searching. However, he only found blank, blank, and blank, and various scholarly books. It was not what he wanted. In the afternoon of the second day, he saw a big boat arriving. The owner was a good-looking upper-class lady. She led 10 sword-bearing maids and charged aggressively into the manor. When the manor servants saw her, they addressed her as maternal uncle's wife. The boatmen and male workers all addressed her as Madame Wang. He heard Madame Wang asking, "Where is my young lady? Ask her to come out quickly." "Where is Aju and Abi? Those 2 crafty servants. Damn, where did they go?" She instructed the maids under her. "Quickly, go seize Aju and Abi, chop off their right hand first before interrogating them." She asked again, "Has your young master returned? Is he together with our young miss?" She did not wait for a reply and started slapping people heavily. Hey, that's not nice. No matter if they were male servants or maids, she simply slapped anyone she came across. Jiumozu saw her martial arts was not very good, but it was more than sufficient to deal with a bunch of servants. Jiumozu expected that she would use the boat to return after her search. Thus, he thought of hitching along and returning back to dry land. He quietly strolled onto the boat side. When no one was around, he leapt lightly and landed on the boat's rear. He hid himself in a corner. Sure enough, no more than 2 hours later, Madame Wang led her maids into the boat and sailed to the middle of the lake. Madame Wang did not find her person. She slapped the desk and knocked the stools, swore and cursed in anger. Nobody dared to talk to her. Man, she has some anger issues. The big boat sailed for a couple of hours and anchored at a pier outside the water manor. Jiumozu waited for the sky to turn dark before entering the manor. It was difficult to search for things in the darkness. Just before the lake, he saw an exquisite small house. He listened attentively. There was no one in the house. He went up the second floor. He pushed the window lightly and jumped into the room. The interior was pitch black. There was no light at all. He found an uninhabited room and slept on the floor. While sleeping, he suddenly heard a rustling noise downstairs. Someone stepped on some dry grass. Jiumozu woke up and peered out through a small crack in the window frame. He heard light footsteps. Someone was going upstairs. This person stepped on the stairs with gentle force. It was almost noiseless. It just goes to show his brilliant inner power. Jiumozu didn't dare to make any noise. He saw a flame torch. The person's footsteps were strangely quick. In an instant, he entered the neighboring room. The person used the torch to light a candle on the table. He heard a few ta-ta sounds. It seemed to be some kind of mechanism turning. Afterwards, he heard a ya sound. The sound of a door being pushed open. Is that how a door sounds? Ya? Jiumozu looked through a small crack in the wooden partition. He saw a small hole opening up in the walls of the adjacent room. There was a door on the hole. The door was painted like the walls. It was difficult to detect once it was closed. Jiumozu looked at the hole. It was a hidden room. Rows of cabinets lined up the room, layers upon layers. Words were carved into the doors of every cabinet and painted blue. All of them the same words. Jade Cave of Langhuan. Jiumozu knew that Langhuan was a mythical place where celestial beings kept their books. He had a thought. Could it be the cabinets stored precious martial arts manuals? Some doors creak a no sound, like in horror, like horror movie. Your door says "ya" all the time. How does it say "ya"? Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I mean, there's something wrong with your door. Might want to get it checked. Jiumozu saw the person merely looked at the bookcase with a candlestick in hand. This person was wearing cyan robes, his long hair draped over his shoulder, his hair grizzled. Apparently, he was quite old. Jiumozu muttered inwardly, "This person is old, inner power excellent. I should be able to deduce his identity." He saw the person move to a cabinet. The word Jade Cave of Langhuan was written horizontally on the cabinet's door. On the bottom part of the door, there were 2 rows of words. Green ox heading west, purple cloud arriving from the east. The words were painted green. Jiumozu pondered. Green ox and purple cloud. It seems to be related to Lao Tzu's Taoist teachings. If the cabinet contains blank, 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 or some other Taoist books, then I won't bother anymore. The person opened up the cabinet door and took out an entire stack of account books and placed them on the desk. There were around 7 to 8 books. The corner of the books were rolled up. It appeared they were rather old. The person leaned his body to the side. Jiumozu could see his appearance clearly. He was around 60 to 70 years old, face flat and smooth, skin white and fair. At once a person came to his mind. This person is so old, yet he is able to maintain the face of a child. Could he be the one famed for the great energy-dissolving skill, Ding Chun-Chiu? Jiumozu held his breath and concentrated. He didn't dare to move the slightest bit. This is the poison-using guy, the poison master. The old man opened up some of the books. He studied the contents diligently. He mumbled and calculated as he traced the contents with his finger. He inhaled and exhaled. It seemed he was practicing some kind of internal energy. After a long time, Jiumozu heard a female voice downstairs. Father, is that you? Oh wait, it's not Ding Chunqiu. Oh, who could it be? The old man exhaled, his pair of hands clasping his belly. He finally replied, Yes, you can come up. There were the sounds of footsteps. A person rushed up the stairs. The person was Madame Wang. Jiumozu was flabbergasted. So this old man is Senior Wang. He is not Ding Chunqiu. Madame Wang walked towards the old man and said, Father, you are practicing the minor formless skill again? Just take these books. They are brought here by you and Mother anyway. Without your guidance, Yu Yan could not understand them. When Jiumozu heard the phrase, the minor formless skill, he knew it was an extremely powerful Taoist internal energy method. At once he focused and paid attention. The old man said, If I take these books and can't hide them properly, most likely they will be stolen by my worthless disciples. It is better to just leave them here. Where did Yu Yan go? Madame Wang sat down on a chair beside the old man and said, There is an old monk from Shaolin called Xuan Bei. He was skilled in Dali. The mortal wound is precisely his famed supreme consummate skill. I think it was called the Great Skanda Pestle. Shaolin firmly insisted that the killer must be Gusu Murong. Fu was wrongly accused by these people. He took a few of his expert servants and went to Shaolin to resolve this matter. Fu is Murong Fu. Yu Yan is worried about Fu and followed him as well. The old man shook his head and said, With Murong Fu's tiny amount of martial arts, how could he kill that baldy Xuan Bei? Oh, he called Murong Fu. He said Murong Fu has a tiny amount of martial arts. So he must be like super strong. Madame Wang said, Father, you killed Xuan Bei, correct? The old man said, No. Why would I kill Shaolin monks? Madame Wang said, Fu's father died early, unexpectedly. The need for Yu Yan to guide him in martial arts. He really lacked any manly spirit. It is really shameful. Father, please teach him. The old man shook his head and said, He thinks his family's star-shifting movement, skill, is amazing. He looks down on the Xingxiu sect and refused to join. Why should I teach him martial arts? When Jiumozu heard it, he finally realized that this old man is Ding Chunqiu. Oh shit. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Madame Wang was the daughter of Li Qiu Shui and Wu Yazu. After the girl was born, both of them lived at Mount Wuliang. The love between these pair of martial brothers and sisters was strong. From time to time, they practiced sword moves under the moon. Occasionally, they composed poetry by the flowers, their joy overflowing. However, Wu Yazu delved into zither, chess, calligraphy, painting, medicine, divination, horoscope, etc. He had to attend to a wide range of affairs. Inevitably, he started to drift away from Li Qiu Shui. Li Qiu Shui kidnapped many handsome youngsters and brought them into the cave. She flirted and teased them openly. Her intention was to make Wu Yazu pay attention to her. Unexpectedly, Wu Yazu loathed her and left in anger. Li Qiushui was extremely disappointed. Thus, she seduced Wu Yazu, his second disciple, Ding Chunqiu. Unexpectedly, Ding Chunqiu revolted and managed to beat Wu Yazu off a cliff, his life and death unknown. Eventually, both Ding and Li took all the manuals hidden in the jade cave of Langhuan, as well as Li Qiushui's daughter, Li Qingluo, and moved to Suzhou. To avoid any gossips, Li Qiushui ordered her daughter to address Ding Chunqiu as father. Madame Wang started calling him father from childhood. This became a habit, and when she grew up, she did not bother to correct herself anymore. So Madame Wang is Li Qiushui's daughter. Yeah? So Ding Chunqiu is not her real father, but she just addresses him as father. Right? Yeah, so Madame Wang is the daughter of Li Qiushui and Wu Yazu. Gotcha. Madame Wang said, "Father, teach this minor formless skill so that I may impart it to Yu Yan in the future." Ding Chunqiu said, "Not good. This skill is extremely difficult to train. Even I can't master it properly. I will teach you the mnemonics to this skill. You and Yu Yan can practice this skill slowly at your own pace. Yu Yan is simply too good to her cousin. I am not at ease." He took a book from the stacks of books on the desk and placed it in his bosom. Ding Chunqiu opened up another book and said, "This set of internal energy method, our martial grandfather only imparted it to your mother. My master and martial aunt did not learn it. Martial grandfather wrote down the method to training this internal energy and made it look like an accounting ledger. New Year Day received 9 Chan and 8 Fun as payment. This means inhale lightly 9 times on the first day, gather your breath 8 times. Hand over 8 Qian and 7 Fun as payment. This means exhale lightly 8 times. Gather your breath 7 times. Second day of New Year, receive 8 Qian and 9 Fun as payment. Bought 1 pig lung, 2 pig intestines, 1 pig heart. This means on the second day after gathering your breath, circulate it once in the lungs, twice in the intestines, once in the heart." Madame Wang laughed and said, "Haha, Martial grandfather is really amusing. He rewrote his heart, lungs, and intestines as pig hearts, pig lungs, and pig intestines." Ding Chunqiu smiled and said, I don't know if that's the right voice for Ding Chunqiu. Should he sound older? I know his face is young, but maybe his voice is older. "By writing this way, even if the book falls into someone else's hands, they will assume it was just an accounting bill for market purchase. They wouldn't know it is a method for practicing internal energy. Read these few words again." Madame Wang recited, "Xin Ren Zhen Yun Chun Shen." Ding Chunqiu said, "Read it again. You must read fast." You prefer the first voice? Oh, okay. Madame Wang recited, Gu fu mu mu sui ku hu. Ding Chunqiu said, read it in reverse. You must do it in a single breath. You must not stop in between. Madame Wang read in 7 oblique tones in succession. Her breath was hindered. Eventually, she broke out in laughter and leaned over the desk. Ding Chunqiu said, no need to hurry. Read for 2 hours each day. Once you are proficient in reciting the mnemonics forward and backwards, you can then follow the method prescribed in the book to practice. I will teach you again once you complete these 2 books. Both of them engaged in some idle gossips. Finally, Madame Wang went down the stairs and left. When Ding Chunqiu finished practicing, he put the books back into the cabinet. He extinguished the candle flame and left the room. Jiu Mozi waited until the sound of Ding Chunqiu's footsteps had gone far. When no one was around, he finally groped his way towards the adjacent room. He entered the hidden room and saw many cabinets with the phrase Jade Cave of Langhuan. He pondered, I will take just the minor formless scale. They wrote it as pig heart and pig intestines. I really don't know what kind of things they would write for other martial arts. If I take the other books, I will just learn the wrong things. Thus he opened the cabinet door for the green ox heading west, and put all the books inside his bosom. He jumped over the wall and left. There was a boat by the coast. He hid in the rear cabin. He didn't know how to steer this big boat. Moreover, he was afraid of alerting Madame Wang with regards to the loss of the minor formless skill manuals. Hence he waited patiently. Till the 3rd day, someone finally steered the boat to Suzhou City for some business transactions. He hid in the cargo hold and waited for the boat to reach shore. When the boatmen and servants disembarked, he finally left the boat and went back to his own place. He counted the number of books. There were 7 in total. One of the books was taken by Ding Chunqiu, hence he could not study the martial arts completely. 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. were written on the book's title. He saw the 7th volume was missing. He knew Ding Chunqiu must have taken the 7th book. He opened up the first book. Few sentences were written on the first page. Since ancient times, there are people who are adept in the way of Tao. They have subtle understandings, their knowledge profound. It is not something an average person can comprehend. Because they cannot understand a person, they can only describe with great difficulty. He is cautious and timid, akin to stepping on thin ice to cross a river during winter. He is vigilant and on guard. He seems to be guarding against an invasion of a neighboring country. He is respectful and solemn, as if he is a guest of a banquet. He operates freely and easily, like an ice melting slowly. He is simple and unsophisticated, akin to raw material without any prior processing. He is broad and open-minded, like the deep hidden valley. He is rich and charitable, like the turbulent, muddy water. Who can calm the turbulent, muddy water and make it clear and pure again? Who can change the quiet and make them alive again? A person who maintains this Tao cannot be complacent, because he is never complacent. He is able to remove the old and replace with new. Jiu Mozi thought for a long time, but he still didn't understand the underlying meaning. He flipped to the 2nd page. Line after line, they were all about certain month and days, how much qian and how much fun, how many pig hearts to buy. He didn't understand, etc. At once he burnt some incense and regulated his breathing quietly. He followed the instructions in the book to practice. Initially, he did not detect any changes. He patiently regulated his breathing and continued to circulate it in his meridians. After a few months, he gradually felt his spirit become clearer and his breathing become smoother. His internal energy had greatly increased. What do you think, guys? Maybe he's practicing the wrong martial arts. He could be just misunderstanding a lot of these teachings, right? Yeah, that'll be really cool if that happens. I wonder what will happen to him. He continued to make a great effort for several more months. He felt his inner breath circulate around more places. After Tubo's tantric Buddhist master Nyingma Pai instructed him in the divine blazing saber skill, he wiped out all the shady sects in Tubo and established his might in the West. Tubo is Tibet, I believe. His skills and knowledge had already reached an extremely high level. However, as he trained the minor formless skill, he felt that he had stepped into another new territory of martial arts study. Buddhist martial arts focused on the aspect of emptiness. Taoist internal energy is based on unhindered, unobstructed, unhurried, no difference in state. Both martial arts achieved the same ends through different means. They were extremely similar once trained to a high level. However, entry-level technique and methods were vastly different. Jiumozu was engrossed in practicing the minor formless skill. He forged ahead relentlessly and studied from day till night. He studied the 6th and 8th volumes and deduced that the missing 7th volume was related to Chong Meridian, Dai Meridian, Yang Meridian, Yin Meridian, the extraordinary meridians. He had already completed the training for all 12 common meridians. The 8th volume contained Yang Qiao, Yin Qiao, as well as the most important Ren Meridian, Du Meridian, etc., another 4 extraordinary meridians. The missing methods to training these extraordinary meridians must be virtually the same as others. By extrapolating from all 7 volumes he possessed, he should be able to derive the training method for the missing 4 extraordinary meridians. Oh, now he's deriving the training. Oh no, I think he's gonna... Something terrible is going to happen to him, guys. When he returned to Tubo, he followed the training formula and mastered the 4 extraordinary meridians depicted in the 8th volume. Afterwards, he backtracked and started to train the missing 4 for the 7th volume. Unexpectedly, the meridians clogged up and was obstructed. Fortunately, the Chong Meridian and Dai Meridians were not commonly in use. He was not too worried. He assumed once he mastered all 16 common and extraordinary meridians, the remaining 4 meridians would follow naturally and clear up. By then, he would be able to circulate through them. He managed to obtain news that the Beggar clan had issued a challenge to Shaolin to fight for the title of leader of the Central Plains Martial Arts Fraternity. The martial arts experts gathered together in the Central Plains were highly unfavorable to Tubo. He did not know all 72 supreme consummate skills of Shaolin, but after mastering the minor formless skill, his internal energy had advanced greatly from the time he challenged the Tianlong Monastery and single-handedly defeated the Duan family's 6 meridians divine sword with his divine blazing saber skill. By using the minor formless skill as the base to power the Shaolin's supreme consummate skills, he should be able to defeat all the monks in Shaolin and make them suffer a crushing defeat. The martial arts experts of the Central Plains wouldn't be able to form an alliance, and he would achieve a glorious deed for Tubo, benefiting his title as Grand Tutor of Tubo. Jiumozu went to Shaolin and secretly eavesdropped outside the main hall of the Buddhist temple. He heard the martial arts discussions between Abbot Sun Tzu, Xunshan, Guanxin, and the rest of the senior monks. He heard Sun Tzu comment that hard, gentle martial arts opposed each other. Thus, the demon-subduing palm could not be practiced together with a mohu finger. Jiumozu executed his lightness martial arts and rushed outside the temple's gate. He used his internal energy to transmit his voice and criticize the theory that hard, soft martial arts cannot be trained together. Jiumozu was able to transmit his voice from a great distance. His internal energy must be deep and profound. The senior monks did not find it strange. However, he was able to hear the discussion even though he was far away. This kind of heavenly connecting ear skill was rarely seen in the world. Everyone was equally startled and in awe. However, they did not expect Jiumozu to eavesdrop the conversation in the main hall and then run to a distant place to transmit his voice. Oh, so he listened to them like right outside, and then he ran away, and then he ran back. This monk is so tricksy. Afterwards, Jiumozu used the minor formless skill as the foundation and executed the Vajra Fist, Prajna Palm, Mohu Finger, and other Shaolin Supreme Consummate skills. Sure enough, the crowd was scared into submission, and he forced Abbot Suanzi to admit inferiority. Just as Jiumozu was feeling smug, he did not expect Suju to suddenly appear out of the crowd of monks. Unexpectedly, Suju also knew the minor formless skill and used it against him. Both their arms clashed and stirred up the Chong meridian and various acupoints. This was the weak point in Jiumozu's internal energy. In a split second, Jiumozu recalled the minor formless skill manual he stole at Mantuo Manor. The collection was short of the 7th volume. He could not help but break out in cold sweat. Jiumozu was careful and meticulous. He would calculate and plan carefully while training. Hence, he was able to avoid all obstructions and pitfalls when practicing his skills. However, when fighting with an opponent, the moves were fast as lightning. He had no time to think through carefully. Both streams of the minor formless skill clashed with each other. Jiumozu did not master the Chong Extraordinary Meridian contained in the 7th volume. Unexpectedly, the force in his arm was nullified by Suju's minor formless skill. If the minor formless skill was fully mastered, even though its power was formidable, but because the skill was termed the minor formless skill, with emphasis on the word minor, it clearly showed that the skill was merely an entry-level Taoist internal energy method. If the practitioner used it to power Taoist martial arts, he would find it smooth and easy. However, when employed in other classes of martial arts, it would inevitably fit like mortise and tenon. It cannot display its powers. However, Jiumozu's minor formless skill was lacking the 7th volume. There was a flaw in his energy method. Inevitably, it paled in comparison to Suju's perfect and complete minor formless skill. All right. Give me 5 minutes, okay? Take a break. I'll be right back. And we are back. That's a good song for sleeping? Yeah. Hopefully I don't sleep when I read. All right. Cheers. All right. Jiumozu was fearful. He's not having a good day. He saw Suju execute another black tiger stealing heart. Suddenly, Jiumozu lowered his palm. His pair of hands stretched forward and grabbed onto Suju's right fist. It was precisely a move from one of Shaolin's supreme consummate skills, the Dragon Claw skill. His left hand seized Suju's little finger. His right hand grabbed onto Suju's thumb. He channeled his energy and bent quickly. He intended to break Suju's fingers. Suju's 2 fingers were under pressure. He could not use the black tiger stealing heart anymore. He felt acute pain from his fingers. He involuntarily executed the plum-breaking hands of Heavenly Mountain. His right wrist made a small turn, flipped over, and seized Jiumozu's left wrist. Jiumozu was feeling happy as he managed to seize Suju's finger with a single move. Unexpectedly, his opponent managed to generate an extremely strange force and captured his own wrist in return. He had extremely profound knowledge of martial arts. However, he had no idea on the origins of plum-breaking hands of Heavenly Mountain. His heart shivered with fear. His wrist felt as if it was locked by an iron hoop. He could no longer shake it off. Luckily, Suju only sought to free himself in his panic-stricken state. He held firmly onto Jiumozu's wrist and prevented him from breaking his fingers. He did not counterattack and grabbed Jiumozu's meridian points. Thus, due to Suju's giving some leeway, Jiumozu gathered his internal energy. He withdrew it slightly, and suddenly sent his energy bursting forth. Jiumozu hoped to split open the flesh between Suju's thumb and forefinger. Suju felt his hands tingling. He was afraid his opponent might execute some ferocious technique if he released his grip. He hurriedly channeled his internal energy. His pure energy of northern darkness rushed forth like a tide. Both Suju and Duan Yu's inner energy had the same origin. However, unlike Duan Yu, Suju did not practice the method to absorb an opponent's internal energy. Thus, although he managed to grab Jiumozu's wrist, he could not absorb his energy. Jiumozu channeled his energy 3 times, but he still couldn't shake off Suju's grip. He could not help but feel greatly astonished. His right hand formed a palm and hacked towards the back of Suju's neck. He could not help but feel greatly astonished. Can you really help feeling astonished? I feel like being surprised is a part of being astonished. Jiumozu was desperate, but he did not think of using Shaolin martial arts anymore. This hacking move was his own Tubo's martial arts. Suju executed a move from the 6 solar palms of Heavenly Mountain with his left hand and neutralized Jiumozu's palm move. Jiumozu's second palm move arrived. Suju executed 6 solar palms of Heavenly Mountain continuously. One by one, he neutralized all of his opponent's violent attacks. Currently, both of them were fighting in close proximity, their bodies touching. They can feel each other's breaths. Oh, how romantic. While trading palm moves, they only bent their arms to turn their elbows. Their palm moves were only 7 to 8 inches away from each other. Although the distance was close, the palm force was extremely powerful. The sound of Jiumozu's palm was like the wind beating. The crowd of monks felt as if his palm force was cutting their face, the chilling force of the palm invading their bodies. It was as if they were in the highest peak of a snowy mountain, gale blowing from all 4 sides. Gradually, the lower generation monks could not withstand it anymore. One by one, they withdrew and moved backwards and pressed their bodies against the wall. Senior monks from the Xuan generation were not afraid of the invasion of palm force. However, they still channeled internal energy to protect their bodies. In order to treat the cave masters of the 36 caves and island masters of the 72 islands from their life-death talisman, Suju had to train his 6 solar palms of Heavenly Mountain to a very high level. He already mastered and understood all different kinds of profound variations in the moves. Moreover, the drawings on the stone wall in Vulture Palace had made him comprehend the wonders of the 6 solar palms of Heavenly Mountain. However, he never used it to fight with others before. He lacked practice. In his first fight, he had to engage in a life-death battle with one of the very best martial arts experts of the current age. Although his palm technique was at an extremely high level, his internal energy strong, he only managed to produce 20 to 30% of the palm's true potential. Jiumozu's palm force converged and gradually became sharp. Suju concentrated on the battle. However, he only sought to defend himself. Every single move was defensive. He held onto his opponent's wrist tightly. It was not because he wanted to seize his opponent, but because Jiumozu far surpassed him in martial arts. Just a single palm from him was already so difficult to deal with. He would definitely die on the spot if Jiumozu had free use of both palms. Suju lacked knowledge and experience. He did not detect the major deficiency in Jiumozu's Chong Meridian. He would achieve victory long ago had he focused his counterattacks on Jiumozu's weak point. He only relied on his silly method and desperately held onto Jiumozu's left wrist to prevent him from executing any moves. Jiumozu's left hand was captured. He could not execute all the wonderful variations and mutual chain attacks of twin palms. He couldn't do his combos. Suju was not very proficient in his palm technique. It was easier for him to use a single palm rather than both. Jiumozu had his potential cut in half. His palm technique was left with only 50%. As for Suju, his 20 to 30% of palm potential gradually became 40 to 50. After the time taken to burn a joss stick, both of them already exchanged several hundred moves. However, they were still deadlocked in stalemate. Xuanzi, Xuandu, Xunshan, Guanxin, Daoqing, etc., the various eminent monks, they already saw how Jiumozu's wrist was being controlled, and he could not struggle free. However, Suju's left palm was completely at a disadvantage. He could only block. He had not strength to retaliate at all. Although the eminent monks were experienced and knowledgeable, they had never seen this kind of fighting method before. In addition, the crowd of Shaolin monks were startled and anxious. Suju grew up in the temple since childhood. He left the temple for only half a year, but somehow he managed to learn an astonishing set of skills when he returned. They saw how he managed to grab his opponent's wrist, but was unable to subdue him. Nevertheless, every single one of Jiumozu's palm moves contained a formidable power that was able to break bones or tendons and destroy inner energy pathways. He only needed to land one hit and his opponent would surely die. Both of them exchanged another 100 moves. Suju's initial fear gradually dissipated. Slowly, he started to comprehend the intricacies of the 6 solar palms of Heavenly Mountain. He's learning on the job, guys. 9 out of 10 moves were defensive, but he was finally able to counterattack with 1. For every counterattacked move Suju executed, Jiumozu must make a move to resist. Thus, there would inevitably be pauses in Jiumozu's offensive moves. Although the pauses were slight, as time went on, it gradually became favorable for Suju. After the time taken to eat a meal, Suju was able to counterattack 2 to 3 moves out of 10. The crowd of Shaolin monks saw him gradually move away from mortal danger. They could not help but be secretly happy. At this moment, Suju was able to reach 40% offensive moves. Although he still had to defend more than attack, his internal energy was able to emerge and display its true potential. He automatically started to execute the various fierce and vicious moves of the carefree sect. For Buddhist martial arts, its intention was to subdue an opponent and not kill. It was completely different from the martial arts of the Child Elder and Li Qiu Shui. Xuanzi and the eminent monks saw that although Suju's moves were reserved and mild, his moves gradually became vicious and sharp. They could not help but purse their brows. Oh no, they are not impressed. Jiumozu channeled his energy and made 3 powerful attempts. He wanted to shake off Suju's right hand so that he could execute his consummate blazing saber skill. Although he increased his power, his opponent's finger force also increased accordingly. In a moment of desperation, his murderous intentions burst forth and flourished abruptly. With a rushing wind, he smacked his palm 3 times. Suju waved his palm to neutralize it. Jiumotsu pulled back his palm and bent his waist. He drew out a dagger from his sock and thrust it towards Suju's shoulder. Oh. Tricksy monk. Suju only learned how to counter unarmed combat. Suddenly, he saw flashes of white light. The dagger arrived and he had no idea how to ward it off. He scrambled and made a grab for Jiumotsu's right wrist. The grabbing maneuver was a capturing, seizing technique from the plum-breaking hands of Heavenly Mountain. It was fast and accurate. Once his 3 fingers landed on Jiumotsu's wrist, his thumb and little finger clamped down immediately. At this moment, the force in Jiumotsu's palm was directed outwards. The dagger moved away from his hand and shot out. Then he disarmed him. Suju's hands held on firmly to his opponent's wrist. With a pooh sound, the dagger plunged into his shoulder up till the handle. Wait. Plunge into whose shoulder? His own shoulder, right? Suju's shoulder. Yeah, I think so. The spectating monks all cried out in alarm. Shunshan, Guanxin, etc., all of them could not help but shake their heads repeatedly. They had the same thoughts. Based on Jiumotsu's rank and status, his reputation was already in tatters, as he couldn't even match up to a young monk from Shaolin. Unexpectedly, he still made a sneak attack with a bladed weapon. His behavior was simply unacceptable. Ooh. Suddenly, 4 monks rushed out from the crowd. Green light flickered. 4 long swords thrust straight at Jiumotsu's throat simultaneously. Ah, the 4 swords. These 4 monks jumped out and launched their attacks at the same time. They targeted the exact same position, their sword art strangely quick and incomparably vicious. Jiumotsu channeled his internal energy into his legs. He wanted to leap backwards. Unexpectedly, under his pull, Suju did not move the slightest bit. However, he felt stinging pain in his throat. The tip of the 4 swords already touched his skin. The 4 monks shouted simultaneously, "Shameless thing! Quickly surrender!" Their voices tender and delicate. Unexpectedly, it was the voices of females. And I think we're gonna stop here. Sorry, guys. Good chapter, though. And I see this is gonna be a long chapter. We're like, what? A third of the way through? Man, Suju is getting really good now. Excellent positioning, yeah. Dum, dum, dum. I am not finished. I might have poured too much. Whew. All right. That was exciting. All right. Next week, probably going to be more exciting. And what's going to happen to Suju? Okay. His senior monks, they're like, hey, what are these 4 girls following you for? Suju? What have you been doing this past half a year? All right, guys. I gotta go. Thank you for coming. Thank you for staying here and listening to me read. I love you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.